At its core, the Clarity Act is a crypto market structure bill. That sounds boring, right? But the impact is massive. For years, crypto companies in the US have operated in a gray zone. No clear rules, no clear regulator, just enforcement action after the act. The Clarity Act tries to fix that by answering one basic question. Are cryptos commodities or are they securities? Why is the Clarity Act so important that the entire US Senate and even the biggest crypto companies are now fighting over it? Well, it's not just another crypto bill. This is the bill that decides who controls crypto in America. And that's why everything around it is exploding right now. You see, at its core, the Clarity Act is a crypto market structure bill. That sounds boring, right? But the impact is massive. For years, crypto companies in the US have operated in a gray zone. No clear rules, no clear regulator, just enforcement action after the act. The Clarity Act tries to fix that by answering one basic question. Are cryptos commodities or are they securities? If they are commodities, they fall under the view of the CFTC. If they're securities, the SEC has control. That one decision affects exchanges, stablecoins, DeFi, and even tokenized stocks. So this bill isn't about crypto ideology, it's about regulatory power. Now, when the bill passed the House first, it had broad support across the crypto industry. Many companies saw it as a way to finally end regulation by enforcement. Instead of guessing what's allowed, firms would get written rules. For a while, the industry looked united, but that didn't last. When the bill moved to the Senate Banking Committee didn't like it. They didn't just tweak it, they completely rewrote the bill. The Senate version expanded the SEC's authority, added new disclosure rules for tokens, restricted how stablecoin rewards would work, and they pulled parts of the DeFi closer to traditional bank-style compliance and surveillance. This is where the divide mainly started. The first major opposition came from Coinbase. Coinbase was one of the strongest supporters of the original bill. Then it suddenly fell apart. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong said Senate amendment crossed red lines. The company argued that the new draft limits stablecoin rewards, expand the SEC's control at the expense of the CFTC. It also increases regulatory pressure on DeFi and restricts tokenized equities. For Coinbase, those changes directly threaten its business model, especially around stablecoins and on-chain access. At its core, Coinbase is still a crypto company. They rely on stablecoin yield, rely on giving DeFi services to its consumer. So when there are red tapes around those functions, the biggest exchange in America won't take it lightly. So Coinbase says something rare in Washington. They basically said we'd rather have no bill than a bad bill. They didn't say it directly, but that's what it basically meant. That move shocked lawmakers and stalled the process. So while the biggest exchange in America opposed the new amendments to the Clarity Act, Ripple actually backed it. Now that confused a lot of people, but it actually makes sense from Ripple's business perspective. Ripple is not an exchange like Coinbase. They are the issuer of XRP and they're a cross-border payment system. Their business focuses on institutional payments, regulated settlement rates, bank partnerships, stablecoins as a payment tool, not a yield product. So strict rules don't hurt Ripple the same way it does a crypto exchange like Coinbase. In fact, tighter compliance can help Ripple by raising barriers for competitors, making institutions more comfortably using crypto infrastructure. So same bill, but different incentives for different crypto companies. Then came the political fallout. Coinbase basically pulling its support had real consequences. Senate banking delayed its markup. Democrats started expressing concerns about the language of the bill. Even the White House reportedly grew frustrated with the industry fighting. At one point, officials hinted that they could even pull White House support for the bill entirely. That's how serious this whole thing got. Most recently, on January 29, the Senate Agriculture Committee marked up its portion of the bill. That committee basically handles the CFTC and commodities side of crypto. That bill passed, but barely. It advanced on a 12-11 party line vote with 0 Democrats voting in favor. Now, that distinction is really important because this bill needs 60 votes to pass the full Senate, and Republicans cannot do it alone. So even though the bill moved forward procedurally, it's politically fragile. So where does the Clarity Act stand today? Here's the reality. Only a part of the bill has cleared the committee. Senate still hasn't passed its portion. There is no Democratic support basically for this bill right now. Industry support is also split. White House patience is thinning and midterm elections are approaching very fast. In short, the bill is active but very unstable. The next battlefield for the Clarity Act is the Senate Banking Committee. That's where stablecoin rules will be decided. The SEC versus CFTC power gets finalized in that part of the discussion, and DeFi language could be softened or tightened. If Banking Committee cannot produce a version of the Clarity Act that attracts Democrats, the bill will most definitely stall. If it stalls for too long, the risk is that it's going to be pushed past the midterms in November, and that's when the control of the Congress, committees, and priorities could change quite drastically. So timing now matters as much as policy.